here with Miami hockey head coach Chris Bergeron as hockey team travels to Western Michigan for the first weekend in 2021. Coach, I'm going to start. What were your thoughts on the pod, specifically the last week of play, and what are the positives you're taking out of that?
The positive is probably the 3-0 win against Denver. The play of Ludwig Persson was pretty positive. I thought the pod itself was well run. No surprise that the league did a great job of having all the details covered and so on. But 2-7-1, not acceptable. That's just the reality. I know it's a tough format. It was a tough format for everybody. We were an overtime goal against Omaha and a 1-1 tie against CC. I mean, are we close to, 4-5-1? I don't know. What I do know is we are 2-7-1. That's not acceptable to this program. And overall, we'll look back and say that we left some things out there and could have done a better job. But the positives, I think, that come to mind are, again, the Denver game and the play of our young goaltender.
Also, Western Michigan is a team you haven't faced yet this season. What do you expect to see from Western Michigan so far?
Really good group of forwards, a team that took a big hit in terms of guys they lost from last year to this year. They unfortunately lost their top goaltender in the pod. I don't know if he'll be ready to play or not. Probably a team that's better than their record. They've scored 30 goals to this point, which means they're just having a difficult time keeping pucks out of their net. They took it to us pretty good last year a couple of different times. So I expect it to be, a really difficult series and a team that's hungry to get playing properly. That's the way I feel.
And obviously the team was a little bit banged up kind of towards the end of the pod, not last week. Do you have any updates on those injuries?
Rydquist practiced today, so he should be back playing. And Crowder, I think Crowder is becoming maybe day-to-day, but I don't expect him for this weekend with his upper body injury. So I think, you get Rydquist back. The other thing is Joey Cassetti now is healthy, so he'll be back playing. So we'll add two bodies to the lineup that didn't finish the pod against North Dakota.
Chris, you talked about the record not being acceptable, and you did get the win. And was there a point either in the win or any of the other games that gave you a clue as to what this team could be? Did they ever reach a point where saying, okay, that's what we should look like every time we go out?
Yeah, I think so, Bake. Yeah, I just don't think it was even close to 60 minutes. I mean, I don't know where Denver's game was in the game, that 3-0 game. Our process that night was 9 of 12. And when I say 9 of 12, I mean in our objectives, which is the process. And we weren't even close to that. We didn't get above 5 any other time. So our process wasn't good enough over the consistent 10 games. But I do think there was times where we were like, man, this is encouraging. I used the word encouraging after the first 4 games, and we were 0-4. But that included North Dakota, Duluth twice, and Omaha. And the Omaha was overtime. So, there's signs, Bake. There's signs. What we are trying to build is signs is moral victory to me. We got no time for that. No time for that. The expectations and the standards of this program are league and playoff championship. All the things you already know. So there were signs, but we need to play better more of the time for sure.
Chris, with the trying to get back to normal, whatever normal is these days, what you went through in the pod versus what you're going to be going through now moving forward, it's going to be at a different pace. So how do you adjust, I guess, making those changes to practice regimes, and then when you get to game routines, because it's going to be somewhat more normal, like you're used to playing weekend series versus Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday?
Yeah, the adjustment now, Wads, to me is easy. We go back to what we're used to, practicing Monday to Thursday, have some type of either travel or settle in for a game Friday, Saturday. The game times may be different, just because of circumstance and the lack of fans and whatever. But I think now we can settle back in. Part of the reality of our group is we haven't arrived. We're 1 year and 10 games into a coaching staff change, and that's just a fact. Yes, are we more comfortable with one another? Yes, but are we there? No, not even close. So being able to practice and hammer home the details positively and try to take out the negative stuff, that is something that I'm looking forward to. Getting back to the details of practice, the process of practice, the process of preparation. We weren't able to prepare basically physically in the pod because it was game, and then practice became, we've got to manage the work because it's so difficult to stay fresh physically. So this is something we're looking forward to, getting back to the basics of our game, teaching the way we want to play, talking about habits, talking about details, giving people an opportunity to prove that they can play better or continue to play the way they played if guys have played well. So I'm looking forward to getting back to the quote unquote normal, as you mentioned, but there's no adjustment now. Again, I think the biggest thing is going to be, what is it going to look like on the road? Like talking to Sprouter about what's going to happen in Western Michigan this weekend. They're not going to let us eat in a conference room. They're not going to let us meet in a conference room like they would normally in a regular a road series. So those are going to be the kind of the adjustments we have to make, but that shouldn't affect our game on the ice whatsoever.
One other thing as well, going to Lawson, normal this year is not going to include fans. So playing at Lawson Arena maybe not will not be the advantage that it has been in years past for Western Michigan. What do you – obviously that's nothing you can control, but
yeah.
What do you think that experience is going to be like?
Well, I think it's going to be better. Their fans usually call us bad names a lot, or their student section anyway. They've got a big time student section, and they do an excellent job. And I don't like to be called names, or I don't like our players to be called names. So that's one. We're used to now playing without fans. I mean, we played 10 games without fans. You're exactly right, Wads. The Lawson crowd and the vibe and the atmosphere in that place, especially with a Western team that's going to push and come at you, it can be a very, very difficult place to play. Probably underrated how difficult it can be to play in there. So it's going to be different, but I do think these kids are used to now not playing in front of fans. So it shouldn't be that big of a deal, and we've got plenty to worry about with our own game and Western Michigan on tape. We don't have to worry about not having fans there.